Good morning. I think we can all be seated. Thank you. Good morning. We're going to do that one more time. Good morning. That was great. And welcome to Cleveland, to Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine. You were here as part of our 3 medical degree programs: the university program, the college program of the Lerner College of Medicine, the Cleveland Clinic, within the School of Medicine, and the MD PhD program. We are so pleased to welcome our first-year students and their family and friends to your white coat ceremony. You're going to all look much better when you have your white coats on. And look at this remarkable venue, right here in the heart of the CWRU campus. It's an inspiring venue in Cleveland to celebrate and reflect. Severance Hall, of course, is the home of the Cleveland Orchestra, the finest band in the land, and I encourage all of you to come back for our concert. I ask our first-year medical students to stand and take a moment to reflect and recognize of what it took to make this milestone. We congratulate you all. Please stand up. And now I'm going to ask all the medical students to turn around, and they're going to clap for all of you. Thank you. Now you can sit down. Thank you. So this ceremony has a certain amount of seriousness and impact, but also a joyous moment. It really does mark your entrance into the Society of Healers of Humankind, something we take pretty seriously in the medical field. From this day forward, you will look at the world in a different way, in part because you will not just be trained to be in a new job or a career, but for a calling and a passion. Everyone on this stage shares my experience of being a physician becomes the way you look at the world, the way you see the world, and how the world sees medicine. Our medical educators here today strive to create a learning, research, and clinical environment designed to help each of you become collectively the best physicians, scientists, healers in the planet. And also, your family members are here today to support you, families, friends, partners, and perhaps even your children. All of us are aware that throughout your medical career, you need that entire family team to help you out. So many of us who've gone before you in medicine certainly know that we could not stand the status quo. We dreamed of a better understanding of societal ills, of human diseases, of treatments for our most dreaded diseases, and we focused our efforts to discover solutions and to improve the health of the world, one patient at a time. And of course, events in the past decade, days, weeks, have made that calling even the more imperative. It started with the pandemic, the infection, its variants, the incredible development of novel vaccines based on medical science, blocked by limited vaccine access, distribution, vaccine hesitancy. All this taught us how complex it is to transform scientific discovery, even with its rapid implementations, in a way that would benefit society. And now we look forward to help mitigate the medical impact of climate change, to eliminate the devastation of social disparities, inattention to diversity, gender equity, systemic racism, and the effect that all those have on our joint medical well-being. So we look to all of you to balance those raging societal battles around access to reproductive care, to supporting with attention to informed medical care and counsel, If nothing else, we will continue to be a source of empathetic, patient-focused, and data-driven advice in the care that we provide and that you will learn to provide. Being a physician really is a calling. As you don your white coat, recognize that being a physician is the start of that process. I'll see you on the other side of your white coat. It's now my honor and privilege to welcome each of you as our students, and it is our honor to help you into the incredible environment that we have here in the city of Cleveland to provide medical education and medical care. Now, I was the first to join the field of medicine in my family. I did, in fact, meet my spouse, as I mentioned, the medical students, my first day of my medical school career, as did my son and future daughter-in-law, and they were medical students here. So the advice of us old farts isn't quite as good as getting somebody from the next generation. So I asked my daughter, an adolescent psychiatrist, for her comments. And she said, the one thing I learned in medical school was put all of my assumptions aside, my superficial understandings, my preconceived notions, and instead consider each patient and each research question anew. And my son, an oncologist now, said physicians, whether in clinical or research work, must be humble in their thinking, must challenge their own curiosity, be open to new ideas, and avoid the plague of confirmation bias in medical treatments or structural racism. Now, behind me is an incredible team of medical educators, and they are the folks that you'll be dealing with very commonly on a day-to-day basis. And I'm going to go through a long list of really important individuals. I'd like each of them to stand as I call their name and remain standing. Dr. Leah Logio, Vice Dean for Medical Education and the Director of our Center of Medical Education. Bud Isaacson, Executive Director of the Department of Medicine, Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine, and of the Lerner College program. Christine Warren, who's the class of '09, Associate Dean for Admissions and Student Affairs of the Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine of Case Western Reserve University. Our society deans, Dr. Steve Riccinati, class of '95, Associate Dean for the Warren Society. Todd Otteson, MD and MPH, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs for the Backwell McKinley Society. Marjorie Greenfield, also class of '83, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs of the Geiger Society. Jean Azok, class of '05, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs for the Satcher Society. Angelique Reedus McCoy, MD, class of '01, Assistant Dean of Student Affairs for the Robbins Society. And Jason Lambrisi, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs of the Gerberding Society. Thank you. I will just sit down. I also want to comment and introduce our curriculum leadership. Amy Wilson-Delfos, Associate Dean for Curriculum for the University Program and a professor in the Department of Pharmacology. Neil Mehta, Associate Dean for Curricular Affairs for the Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine Program. Monica Yepes Rios, Assistant Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for our medical students. Mike Constant, class of '82, Vice Dean for Translational Research. Agata Exner, Co-Director of the MSDP MD-PhD program. Thank you. Also joining us is Mimi Lamb, our keynote speaker for today's activities. We'll introduce her in a few minutes. And James Fleming, School of Medicine class of '89 alumnus and president of our Medical Alumni Board. Thank you, Jim, for joining us today. And sitting behind are a number of our faculty who took the time today to come and witness the white coat ceremony. A number of them one of whom is a proud parent, which I'm delighted, said, I never got a white coat ceremony, so maybe we should do a white coat ceremony for all the more senior physicians that we have. So thank all of those who joined us on the podium today. I'd like now to introduce Dr. Leah Logio, who I mentioned is the Vice Dean for Medical Education and the Director of the Center for Medical Education, to offer some remarks. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all. Congratulations to all of you on this milestone moment, the first leg of your journey in medicine. To the parents, partners, friends, and families, welcome to the Case Western Reserve School of Medicine community. It is a vibrant community that cherishes its mission to train the best and brightest individuals in medicine and biomedical sciences. In my role, I have the incredible opportunity to speak to some of our alums. They overflow with stories of how Case shaped their careers and provided them with all the skills in the art and science of medicine to do wondrous work across the globe. And to the newest student doctors, you heard Dr. Ricconati talk about this light switch moment last week. Today is the celebration of that moment. As medical students, you are regarded in a different light than you were before. As of today, society bestows on you important privileges and responsibilities as a healer. You will be challenged in your journey. It's actually hard for me to fully imagine what challenges you may face. You will be challenged by all that we have left to discover in medicine, health, and disease, challenged by new technologies, including artificial intelligence and what that means for medicine, challenged by health disparities and social drivers of health and disease, and ultimately challenged by each patient you will face, like the patient's story that Dean Gerson shared with you on Friday. Each will have a unique story linked to deep values and preferences and personal beliefs. We know you are up to the challenges you will face. We're counting on it. I will end with a quote from Sir William Osler. As an internal medicine physician, he is one of my heroes. This quote seems particularly apropos today and hopefully will continue to inspire you on your journey. Quote, "The practice of medicine is an art, not a trade, a calling, not a business, a calling in which your heart will be exercised equally with your head." Again, congratulations, one and all.
It is now my honor to introduce Dr. Bud Isaacson, whom I mentioned, the Executive Dean for the Cleveland Clinic Linder College of Medicine program of Case Western Reserve, to share some of his reflections. Bud.
Thank you. What an awesome day, huh? For those of you who are traveled from outside of Cleveland, this is absolutely typical Cleveland weather. In fact, it gets sort of boring, but we get used to it after a while. I am so excited. I never had a white coat ceremony, but I feel a special meaning in putting the white coat on this morning to be with all of you. Here's my favorite white coat story, and you have to pay attention to the names in this story, okay? Students, pay attention. So a few years back, Andrea Hannick with an H, was working with me in clinic during her research year, and she told me she had just gotten engaged and was going to marry Andy Harding with an H. Andrew was in the college program, Andy was in the university program. And I got a chance to meet Andy at graduation a year later. And I said, "Andy, how did you and Andrea meet?" You guessed it, white coat. Hannick, Harding, okay? So, look around you. You will definitely form some strong relationships, and who knows where this may go. You know, today as you receive your white coat, you actually enter the greatest profession there is. The greatest profession there is. It's really a balance with this coat. Enormous privilege. You have the privilege, once you get involved with patients, to earn their trust and to learn their innermost secrets. You have the privilege to help them heal, to help suffering. And when you can't do those, you have the privilege even to be with them at the end of life. And as a general internist, that's part of my role, and I cherish it. You also have enormous responsibility. The responsibility to maintain the patient's confidence, to earn their trust, and above all, not to fall victim to power that you think the white coat includes, and to abuse that power. One of the wonderful things in medicine is that the journey continues for all of us. Our professional identity evolves. Everyone on the stage here is doing something now that they didn't anticipate doing when they started medical school, probably when they ended medical school, when they ended residency. And so, for me, what I've noticed is really a movement much beyond the individual patient now to thinking about the needs of society. And we are really embracing social justice and the need to confront current issues, such as women's health and reproductive choice, gun violence, climate change, and COVID. Now, how do we do that? We are guided in our approach by attention to health equity for our patients and our communities. You're going to confront these challenges and many more. We need you as the future of medicine to work with us and help be the solutions to these problems. We are so excited and proud to welcome you to the profession of medicine. Congratulations.
One of our traditions is to invite a colleague to white coat ceremony to give their perspective on their experience in medicine and to offer a little bit of inspiration and guidance going forward. And I am delighted that a past speaker is here with us, and I'd like her to stand up. Sherry Williams, who's just taken on the role as the chair of medicine at our VA Medical Center. And if you tickle her, she'll probably tell you what she talked about last year. Thank you, Sherry. So maybe, Sherry, we're going to start a tradition, have each past speaker come and join us. That's a good idea. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Steve Riccinotti, who I mentioned earlier, who will introduce the keynote speaker for today, Dr. Mimi Lam. Steve.
Thank you, Dean Gerson. When I first told our speaker today that I had the honor of introducing her, she paused and said, "Oh, but you'll talk too long." So, my friend, I will try and be brief and to the point, but you have shaped my life in so many ways, loud and soft, that I must do you honor. Dr. Mimi Lam is a professor of medicine and staff nephrologist at Metro Health Medical Center. She earned her Bachelor of Arts degree at Oberlin College and her MD degree at the Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine. She completed residency training in internal medicine at Metro Health and nephrology fellowship at Metro and at the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center. After completing their fellowships, she and her husband returned to Cleveland to join the faculty at Metro Health and CWRU. While maintaining a busy clinical practice in nephrology, Dr. Lam is heavily involved in the teaching of medical students, residents, fellows, and her peers. At the medical school, she's been involved in every major curricular innovation over the past several decades, including the evolution of small group teaching through her work with renal small groups, interactive lecturing, animated PowerPoint presentations, the Case Med Minute YouTube channel, where her videos have greater than 300,000 views with such nerdy topics as demystifying the countercurrent multiplier. 50,000 views. And during the pandemic, Dr. Lam was not content to sit aside. She rapidly adapted to Zoom teaching and helped her colleagues do the same. Dr. Lam has won every major teaching award at the School of Medicine, including the Kaiser Permanente Teaching Award and election to the School of Medicine's Academy of Scholar Educators. In addition to her direct teaching efforts, Dr. Lam is passionate about teaching others how to teach. Dr. Lam has an impressive track record of service to the School of Medicine. She's chaired the Medical School Admissions Committee and currently serves on the Committee of Medical Education, the highest standing committee with oversight of the curriculum. Her service to the medical school was recognized by the Alumni Board with the Clifford Voigt Alumni Service Award. Dr. Lam is also a visionary philanthropist. Along with her husband, Dr. Alfred Connors, she created 6 endowed professorships in renal physiology, pulmonary critical care, and medical education at Metro Health and CWRU. Students take note. 4 of these chairs are named after their parents. Honor thy parents. Interwoven with her career as a healer and teacher is her passion for music. Dr. Lam enjoys playing music with family, friends, and colleagues. She serves as an assistant organist and pianist for her church. Dr. Lam is known to play music for, and sometimes with, her patients and students. I give you my friend, Dr. Mimi Lam.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Steve. Our families have been connected for decades because Dr. Ricconati's father, Dr. Edmund Ricconati, was a nephrologist or a kidney specialist at Metro, and he was one of the people who continually inspired me from the time I was a medical student until I became a faculty member to be interested in learning how the kidney works and teaching others about it. One of the things that I find most memorable about this Dr. Ricconati is something that his mom once told me. That back when he was a kid, both of his parents smoked, as many people did in those days. But he was able, even though he was only 5 years old, to get his parents to stop smoking by simply hiding and disposing of their packs of cigarettes. So that goes to show you that you don't have to be old or experienced to make an impact, something to keep in mind as you enter this new phase of your lives. So congratulations and welcome to you, our new students. Today and for the rest of your professional lives, you'll hear about the role of a physician, its responsibilities and privileges, and about medicine as a calling and a way of life. But today, I'd like to talk to you about the special role of the medical student. This is such a unique role, and having lived through it myself and having seen many students live through it, I can only say that sometimes if you aren't paying attention, you may not even realize how unique it is until it's over and too late to go back. You guys already know how to attend lectures, read the literature, and study for exams, but the things I'm going to talk about cannot be learned only from lectures, small group discussions, books, articles, websites, and even videos, but rather by taking care of and interacting with actual patients. And the time to do that will be here for you before you know it, so it's never too early to start thinking about it. I'd like to give you some pointers and observations to help you make the most of your role as a medical student. There are 6. I know that in a good talk we're only supposed to have 3, but as you'll see, these do overlap and reinforce each other, and they're not very long. So here we go. Number 1. Be open to opportunities to learn. This means being as good a listener and observer as you can possibly be. You'll be surprised at how much you can learn about patients just by looking and listening empathetically and non-judgmentally. You can hear amazing descriptions of symptoms and illnesses by patients who know nothing about anatomy and physiology, but who can accurately describe what they experience in the course of their illnesses. From other patients, I've heard heartbreaking accounts of suffering child abuse, racism, or sorrow at family losses. Others have described how their doctor didn't listen to them, ignored an important symptom, or had tunnel vision and arrived at the wrong diagnosis. And I've also heard inspiring stories of strength, faith, and resilience, of courage and determination in dealing with chronic illness and adversity, of family members coming together to help, support, and comfort each other. You'll find that being part of a medical floor team also provides many learning opportunities, and here it's important to be not only a good listener, but also a good team member. The more you pitch in and show that you're interested, the more you'll learn. So be generous with your time and energy. Take care of your assigned patients, but also try to help your team by making phone calls for others as needed, serving as an interpreter if you know another language, looking up information for a harried resident, or helping to do procedures like drawing blood. And you'll learn much more than you will by sitting in a corner and reading. Remember also that as a student, you are in the unique position of not being expected to know very much. So you can ask questions that others on your team who have that MD after their name might be embarrassed to ask. You are allowed to admit that you don't understand something. You can say things like, "What does TMA mean?" Or, "I've never heard a mitral regurgitation murmur. Can you show me how to listen for it?" Or, "I don't understand why people's fevers go up and down so much with COVID." So remember, take every opportunity to learn. Number 2, be aware that your short white coat represents your special role of being the link between your patients and the entire medical system. Everyone else on your team will be taking care of somewhere between 6 and 20 plus patients. You will only have 1 or maybe 2, so you can lavish a lot of time and energy on them. Read and make yourself an expert on your patients' diseases. Be willing to explain to them and to their family everything that happens to them. Lab tests, procedures, medications, diagnoses, and plans told to them, but not necessarily well explained by the doctors and specialists on their case. Once I was making rounds with my consult team, talking to a patient to be sure that he understood his disease and how it affected his kidneys. But to our amazement, he explained it to us so well that we had nothing to add. We asked him how he knew so much about his condition, and he replied, "My student doctor, Dr. Finelli, explained all this to me. He drew me a diagram and everything." So you are the liaison between your patient and whatever they need from the medical system. Do they have difficulty affording their meds so that they stretch out their blood pressure pills and take one every other day? Has no one gone over the results of their echocardiogram with them and explained what heart valves are and what is meant by aortic stenosis? Are they in denial over how they can feel fine and have no symptoms and yet be diagnosed with advanced kidney disease or cancer? In all of these situations, you as the patient's guide and advocate can help to bridge the gap between their needs and questions and what we would like for them to know and understand. Number 3, most people, medical staff and patients alike, love to teach, to enlighten someone who knows less than they do. And who could be a better recipient of knowledge and wisdom than a medical student? If you listen, people will teach you all kinds of things. Some patients have agendas, things that they want to say to students. One patient said, "Every time I meet a student, I expect them to introduce themselves and shake my hand." Some have stories with morals that they want to impress upon the students. Once I was rounding with 3 students, and we stopped to see a patient with advanced alcoholic liver disease who had some interesting physical findings that I wanted the students to see. So with the patient's permission, we made what I thought would be a 5-minute stop just to do an abdominal exam. But the patient was friendly and talkative, and the students were inquisitive and very interested. Next thing we knew, the patient was unfolding the story of his career in radio broadcasting and how he had gradually slipped into alcoholism. 45 minutes later, As we thanked him and left the room, he was calling after the students with his take-home message: remember, don't drink. In my specialty of kidney disease, I've encountered some surprising things that patients have said to students. One patient told his students that he hid the fact that he was on dialysis from all but his family and one friend because, he said, "I don't want people to treat me any differently. I don't want anyone to pity me." Another patient said that he was not looking to get a kidney transplant because, quote, "I don't deserve one. I didn't take care of the kidneys that I had, which is how I ended up on dialysis. So I think that those of us that transplanted kidneys should go to people who will take better care of them." I have to admit that those of us who have known some of these patients for years are amazed and touched by their openness with students and their willingness to tell students things that they have never confided to us. Sometimes I think that patients tell us things that they think we want to hear, but they tell you guys the plain truth because they want you to truly understand patients so that you can become really good doctors. Number 4, you too can teach. Be aware of your special role as an information finder. Growing up in this high-tech age, you're comfortable using all kinds of electronic devices. As students of the curriculum of this school, which so emphasizes taking the initiative in seeking out information, gathering and organizing it, you'll be uniquely prepared to help your medical team, patients, and everyone you come in contact with in looking up answers to all kinds of stuff. You can also take things to the next level. As a student, you'll have had lots of practice in working through complex clinical situations, being able to formulate clinical and basic science questions, and then researching the answers to them. So be prepared to use your phone and the nearest computer, and you will find that you can be a valuable team member in a very special way. Several years ago, I attended a concert that included a live interview with the retired principal cellist of the Cleveland Orchestra, Stephen Gaber. "Do you have an overarching philosophy of teaching?" he was asked. And his reply was, "No, I do not have an overarching philosophy of teaching because you have to meet every student where they are." And I thought, that sounds to me like a great philosophy of teaching. And this brings up point number 5. I have thought so many times of Gaber's wise comment about meeting people where they are, and I think about it especially in the context of taking care of patients, because being willing to meet patients where they are instead of imposing your own views, expectations, and agenda on them can mean the difference between an awkward, disengaged relationship between patient and doctor and one in which there is mutual respect, cooperation, and recognition of patient autonomy and dignity. Meeting patients where they are requires flexibility on the part of the care provider. At the beginning of a clinic visit, I like to update the patient's medical history. So I ordinarily start with a question like, "So, what's been going on lately? What's happened since we last met?" And I may have to totally shift gears if the patient replies, "We just lost our dog. She was 15." Or, "My brother died last week of COVID." Now suddenly, the tone of the conversation becomes somber and reflective. Hopefully, you'll be able to ask questions that bring back good memories, and sometimes regrets, about the lost person or pet. Oftentimes, I've found that such a conversation ends with a smile as the patient takes out their phone and shares a favorite picture or story. Sometimes meeting the patient where they are means that you can get into discussing some very complicated issues. When I'm trying to avoid impending disaster for a patient who is heading toward needing dialysis very soon, I have to be ready to work with them when they refuse all plans of preparing for dialysis by saying things like, "If this is something I'm going to have to do for the rest of my life, I want to wait until the last possible minute to start." Or they may even say, "I don't want dialysis. I'm 91 years old and I've had a good life, but my son doesn't understand that. He wants me to have dialysis." Here again, our job is to listen and to ask, "Tell me what you know about dialysis. Have you known someone who was on it?" And to patiently probe the patient's reasons for thinking as they do, to be sure that they have correct information and understand all the implications of not accepting a life-extending therapy. You as a student may not have the knowledge to be able to quickly answer their questions or provide detailed information right at the moment, but you can still, by your manner and expression, reassure the patient that we care about their concerns and fears, that if we can't answer their questions right away, we'll find the answers for them, and that even if they choose not to accept the treatment that we recommend, they can trust us to always be on their side, to listen to them, and to honor their wishes to create a plan of care that is comfortable for them and their loved ones. So these are just some of the challenges that we face in trying our best to meet patients where they are. And number 6, the final tip that I have for you is, and how many times have you heard people say this? Take some time for yourself once in a while. During the depressing and disheartening days of the early part of the pandemic, when we worked and were met with only stress and sorrow, I found that my greatest comforts lay in music and in taking walks with my family and dogs. I was able to make some short videos by recording a soundtrack and then overlaying it with iPhone pictures and short clips gathered on our walks. So I'd like to close today by showing you a 2.5-minute video that was put together one Sunday afternoon and gave me a real sense of getting away from it all for a minute, as well as being able to create something that captured brief moments of beauty, humor, and serenity. One relative who viewed it wrote, "It calms my pandemic-frazzled nerves." And so I hope that you can find something to do or turn to in difficult times, whether it's reading, spending time with family and friends, cooking, outdoor activities, or creative projects that will allow you to relax, laugh, and renew, and give you the strength to carry on. Here is the 2.5-minute video with scenes shot in Shaker Heights during our dog walks. It begins with a clip from one of the Shaker lakes and the little dam that is on the clip. So I hope you could see that from the back. If not, let me know afterwards, and I'm sure we can send out an email link so that you can view it later. I'm sure that any physician in this hall today will agree that we have just scratched the surface of all that you can be and do and learn as a medical student. But I hope that these ideas will help you to embrace and cherish your special role and will make you think about how you, as a student, can make a difference in the lives of your patients, their families, and all the people you work with. Remember what we learned from the story of Dr. Wikanati in his childhood, that even the young can be mighty. So I hope that you will have a lot of fun as you start medical school, and remember to take care of each other. Thank you.
Those were remarkable words of wisdom. Dr. Lamb, thank you. We should all remember them. I hope you either took notes or will make sure we help you with those 6 simple but rather profound concepts, which I think everybody on stage here would agree has helped us in our careers. So now it is in fact time for the white coat ceremony. And we're going to process this. Each student will come on stage. Their name will be read. Their society dean will help them don their coat. And I'm looking forward to the process. So I think we're all ready to go. I invite Lena to come up and we'll start the process. The coats are behind us, and by the end of the time, the coats will be gone. They'll be with all of you. Thank you.
Are you guys ready? Students, please come forward as your name is called. Aquia Abra. Anu Aluapu Ajau. Tazeen Alam. Ariel Alberto. Emily Albrecht. Radhika Amin. Ruthie Amkraut. Ahmad Avery. Afomia Ayala. Alexander Azar. Jessica Bai. Evangeline Bambakitis. Brian Bangs. Stella Bastian. Katie Bashirs. Myra Bhatti. Shweta Bindu. Emily Blaum. Kiera Borthwick. Isaac Bowrun. Alexis Brownrote. Alexandria Brumfield. Salvatore Caradonna. Edgar Cedeno. Anil Chakravorty. Mackenzie Chappell. Andy Chen. Lauren Chen. Matthew Chen. Jackie Chen. Adeline Chin. Peter Chin. Sean Cho. Vamsi Chodasetti. Monica Choi. Anastasia Christ. Thomas Chukta. Annie Cipriani. Matthew Coulter. Nathan Cowan. Landry Cowles. Alexander Crane. Elliot Crooks. Celine Cumming. Danielle Curry. Caleb Curry. Carolyn Daniels. Nikita Das. Mackenzie Deegan. Erica Deming. Emma Dester. Ravi Damija. Claire Dragotis. Nafis Agrari. Allison Epstein. Samantha Epstein. Michelle Fang. Yasemin Fizeli. Beatriz Fejo. Jesse Filipazzo. Luke Flint. Alexander Foden Perez. Fiona Fragaman. Madison Frazier. Sophie Friedel. Sarah Fry. Michael Galetta. David Galvan. Rachel Gardenhire. David Garib. Kendall Garrett. Ashwarya Gotham. Isha Gosalkar. David Gilbert. Jay Gadoo. Emily Guo. Lydia Guo. Maura Geiler. Elliot Haddad. Catherine Herring. Yulia Haraguchi. Alyssa Harbaugh. Ben Hauk. Allison Hilbronner. Henry Herrera. Mark Hill. Samuel Honig. Yue Lin Cedric Hu. Inga Huang. Marissa Imbroni. Amish Jain. Heijin Zhang. Yang Guan Zhang. Anil Johannes. Dove Anna Johnson. Sky Jones. Carmen Jung. Hannah Kang. Clarity Kaseke. Samid Khan. Amita Karabe. Sonia Kim. Kayla Klatt. Michael Komarovsky. Anish Kosanam. Lauren Kreider. Justin Lau. Dave Longani. Manish Lavu. Angela Lee. Serena Lee. Jessica Lang. Austin Lee. Sean Lee. Uyin Lim. William J. Liu. Matt Loria. Rie Maida. Erin Mina. Heidi Maklouf. Pratik Makaneni. Ajita Maladi. Pranava Malu. Abby Mandela. Sophia Matz. Alexander Mayton. Tatiana McAnulty. Jacob McCann. Seisha Mehta. Margaret Miller. Jack Mallow. Allison Moe. Rishav Mukherjee. Daphne Newell. Trina Wynn. Lynn Nee. Unda Niati. Afua Afori Darko. Nicholas Ogrins. Christian Ong. Isra Osman. Gregory Owendoff. Victor Pastrana Gomez. Milan Patel. Iris Peng. Emily Peng. Joshua Porto. Sin Lei Lydia Pui. Jonathan Putnam. Alice Shen. Celine Rajul. Akash Raju. Manisha Reddy Naganatana Holly. Alexander Richards. Connor Regal. Ryan Rilliger. Jenna Rock. Brianna Rutland. Malak Saada. Egan Sanchez. Abisairi Sanchez Feliciano. Kelsey Sanders. Parshva Sangvi. Alexandra Scharf. Daniela Shmulevich. Zachary Schulman. Haley Seibert. Akash Shah. Vrunal Shah. Jerry Shepard. Woo Jun Shim. David Shin. Jonathan Shirian. Mark Salter. Merida Stormy Stan. Claire Starsenik. Carrie Schwartz. Joseph Sweats. Thomas Siphon. Anjali Ta. Tomasz Tabernatsky. Stephen Tang. Julia Tanzo. Norbu Tenzing. Glory Tai. Caden Thomas. Eileen Trin. Inoabong Udo. Javier Urcullo Acevedo. Maya Van Buskirk. Chloe Van Dorn. Caitlin Vlasteris. Emily Wesley. Taylor Witt. Lorena Wickland. Joshua Wiener. Eduardo Williams Medina. Aaron Wise. Jesse Wu. Katie Shu. Jerry Schwang. David Yan. Isabella Yazi. Nikila Yerabandi. Jyotika Yermo. Sophie Yue. Arman Zadeh. Dua Zara Zaidi. Ariane Zhang. Brian Zhang. Judy Zhang. Yumen Zhang. Harvey Zhou. Yvette Zhu. Congratulations.
Well, wow, that was pretty cool. So you've all made my day. You look much better now. Thank you. Just keep it on, and someday I will tell the story of my wearing a white coat in Boston during the gas embargo, but that's another story. So those white coats come in useful in many ways. So the last element of your key members of the key activities of the morning is your oath of professionalism, which I talked about with you early on Friday morning, and you spent the better part of the day working through. And it's now time for me to ask Dr. Christine Warren to come forward and work with you on reading the oath. Dr. Warren.
Thank you, Dr. Gerson. On the last day of orientation, all 217 students from the university program, college program, and the medical scientist training program came together to compose their own oath of medical professionalism, which they'll share with you this morning. The recitation of this oath marks their formal entry into the study of medicine. I would like to briefly share with you an overview of the oath writing workshop and how each student contributed to the oath's development. After being welcomed to the professionalism workshop by Dr. Gerson, students then broke up into small groups to deconstruct professionalism into themes through reflection and discussion. Several small groups then combined into larger groups, at which time they consolidated their thoughts and voted on key professionalism concepts that they wanted to highlight in their class oath. 14 student leaders were then elected to attend a consensus conference to pen the final oath utilizing the ideas generated by the entire class. Finally, 2 students from the executive committee were selected to lead their class in the oath right now. So it is now my great pleasure to invite to the stage Akiwa Abra and Mackenzie Deegan. And will the entering class of 2022 please rise and turn to your oath in the program.
Thank you, Dr. Warren. I'm Akuya,
And I'm Mackenzie.
and we will be leading all of us in the recitation of the oath. As the entering class of 2022, we commit to the following oath. To our patients we vow to respect their humanity, autonomy, and lived experiences, to act as responsible stewards of the information they entrust to us, to empower them to make confident, informed decisions about their care, to remain mindful of the cultures they represent, and to advocate for equitable treatment. To ourselves we vow to act with integrity and selflessness, to champion our personal well-being, and to use challenges as opportunities for growth. To our colleagues we vow to demonstrate honor and respect, to exercise and expect trustworthiness and accountability, and to foster interprofessional collaboration within the healthcare system. To our profession we vow to recognize the great privilege of learning from those who came before us, to perpetually pursue truth, discovery, and innovation, and to take responsibility for the shortcomings of our profession. Finally, to our community we vow to recognize the biases that impede equitable care, to dismantle systemic injustices in our personal and professional lives, and to foster an environment of open communication between patients, physicians, and communities. We vow to leave our profession better than we found it.
Thank you. You can be seated. It really has been an honor to preside over this event this morning. It has profound influence on all of us as educators, and I hope on all of you as students and future physicians. We can't say it all this morning, so you'll find in the coat of the in the pocket of your white coat some words of wisdom from some of our alums who have sent on some brief words of comment for you. Hope you enjoy them. This morning's ceremony brings you into the community of physicians, clothes you with one of the most important symbols of our profession, and will helpfully launch your long life career. Wear the coat well as a badge of responsibility, trust of your own professionalism statement, and remind yourselves of those words often. So to our newest colleagues who are the entering class of 2022, welcome to the profession, to Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine, and consider yourself from this day forward as a member of the Society of Healers of Mankind. Thank you very much. That concludes our program. I'd now like to ask a favor. We'd love to get a picture of these beautiful people. So if you will, allow us on stage and the students to process out so we can get a picture out on the front steps, straight out the back. Give us about 3 minutes to get out. And then there's a reception which we'd enjoy all of your families and members to attend. Thank you very much.